Hello and welcome to this Affinity Photo iPad tutorial, and this is a beginner's guide part 7B for want of a better name, because it's a continuation of looking at the layers, and this time I want to finish off looking at the fill layers using bitmaps and having a look at the pattern layers, which is something I've just been sort of learning about. So I'm going to start off with the fill layers, and if I come to the layer studio and click on the plus sign, and then I click on fill layer, and if we look down in the bottom context menu, it starts off in solid, and if I scroll, I'll use the left one to go backwards because I think bitmap is nearer to the left hand side. So when you select bitmap, it will sort of take you to this page where you can either download it, or in my case it's from the iCloud, but you can sort of get it from off a file on the iPad, or if you have another cloud service, you can do it that way. So I'm going to select this little icon that I made the other day, and at the moment it looks a mess, but if you look in the top left of this document, there's a white dot, and this is going to be like the gradient sort of control. So if I just click somewhere, because at the moment there's like thousands of them on this page, but if I just sort of click in the middle somewhere, and we'll start the dot from there, and I will draw this out, and you can have just a few in there, or you can have loads of versions of that logo, and you can obviously rotate it and resize it and reposition it and get it how you want. So this is basically very similar to the pattern layers. You possibly might have a little bit more control using the fill layer bitmap rather than the sort of pattern layers, but we'll have a look at the pattern layers next. But there's not a lot bit more you can do. I mean, you do have the controls down the bottom about well, you can rotate it, but you can rotate it from just clicking on here. So that's pretty much it, really, as far as looking at the fill layers and the bitmap option. So I'm just going to delete that layer, and so we're going to move on to the pattern layers. Now, first thing I want to do is I'm just going to draw out a rectangle. I'm going to go for a lightish blue, just to give me a background. So when I put the PNG of this heart shape on there, the blue will show through. That's the only reason I've done that rectangle. You don't need to do that. So I'm going to place the image, and the place command, I keep losing it. It is in the, what is that menu down there? The commands menu. I always forget which one's which. So it's in the commands one, which is the 3 dots, and the place, and I'm going to do place from cloud, and again select that same image, and then I can just draw this out to whatever shape I want or size I want. Let's put it about there. So come back to, I seem to have an extra layer there. I'll just delete that. So this PNG layer, and it could be a JPEG or PNG, as you can see, it has called an image layer. Now, when I was practicing this, I was trying very hard to get it to work, and I couldn't get it to work. No matter what I tried, I just couldn't get it to work, and I was reading the instructions and it seemed to make sense, but I couldn't work out how to do it. And then I realised it's because this is an image layer and not a pixel layer. So you can't make a pattern from an image layer. It has to be a pixel layer. And so you need to bear that in mind. So you need to rasterize this layer first. And rasterize is in the same menu with the three dots, a bit further down here, and then just click rasterize, and that will change that to a pixel layer, which now means we can make a pattern out of it. Now there are two different ways to make a pattern. You can select something from a picture. I mean, if this was like a photograph, say with a dog in it, you could select the dog and make a pattern from that selection. Now obviously I've only got this heart shape, so if I come to the selection persona, and from that three dot menu we've got different options now, because in the selection persona, and I'm going to do selection from layer, and as you can see we've now got that heart selected. I will come back to the pixel persona, make sure I'm on the move tool, click on the plus sign, and then pattern layer from selection. Now that layer below it is still there and visible, so I'll turn that off, and you can then sort of resize, rotate a bit like the fill layer option that we had before. So that is that one. So I'm going to just delete that. Oh, didn't mean to delete both. Let's go back one, undo, there we go. Delete that one, turn that one back on. I'm going to hide that layer. In fact, I'll probably do better to just delete it. So we've only got this one layer here, and then I'm going to click on the plus sign and then just select pattern layer. Now you get this new pattern layer menu, and it starts off set at 32 pixels by 32 pixels, which is very tiny, and it'd be almost impossible to work. Quite why they've started on such a small number I don't understand. So I'm going to change that. I'm going to make it quite big. I'm going to go 1000 pixels by 1000 pixels, and then click OK. So it has drawn that box, which is 1000 pixels by 1000 pixels. So it's a decent size, so I can see it. So if I select the brush tool, and we will set the color to a red, something like that, and make sure I've got the pattern tool there, and I'm then just going to paint very badly by hand this heart shape, and as you can see it is duplicating that pattern all the way around the page. So let me just bear with me, I'm not very good at painting on my PC version. Not that I think this option is not available in the PC version, unless it's been added very recently and I just haven't noticed. But I'm not very good at painting things on a computer or an iPad. Oh, that will do. So we've got this heart shape, and if I change the colour, say to black, and I hand right across here, there we go. So we have that selected. So making sure I'm on the move tool, I can resize this, rotate it. So basically the fill bitmap layer and the pattern layer are very similar beasts, and you may get on better with one rather than the other, but they do seem to be doing a very similar job. Now I think the pattern layer probably has got a bit more what's a good phrase, variations on what you can do with it, because you can obviously paint on it like I've just done, or you can add pictures or other things or selections. So the pattern layer might be the best way to go, but the bitmap fill layers will do a pretty good job in itself. So I think that will do for this tutorial, and hopefully this will be the last look at looking at layers. The only ones I have avoided so far is vector layers, but I need to learn a bit more about the iPad version before I jump in and look at them. So thank you for watching, and goodbye.